Hi guys, in this video we're going to be disassembling Mac number 5. If you missed the previous video where I explained exactly what is in the 12 faulty Macs, I'll put a link in the description or it'll pop up on screen now. Please remember to subscribe and enjoy the video. So the first thing that we're going to do is jump back into the spreadsheet, and today we're going to be working on iMac number 5, well Mac number 5. If you remember, it will boot, but it's got graphics issues. This particular model is known for having graphics issues, as I've worked on these before. People will recommend that you can reball them or heat them up or that kind of stuff, but realistically the problem could return, and I'm not that interested in having a thing come back to me after I've sold it. In all honesty with you, I just want a quick turnaround and I want to get rid of it. So what we're going to do is we're going to basically break the machine down and sell the separate parts on eBay. We know that the majority of the machine is good. The only thing that has failed is the graphics card. I mean, there could be an issue with the screen, but it's highly unlikely. It's more likely that it's a problem with the graphics card. So I've been looking on eBay, and if you look here you can see all the different parts that have sold from these. You can see a lot of them are actually the video cards themselves. The model of this particular iMac is an A1312, but you can see that there's a good selection of parts here that have sold. I know the screen, the LCD alone is worth around £100. You can see that one there sold fairly recently, 115, and that's from the 2009-2010. Ours is slightly newer, so it might be slightly different. We'll have to disassemble it and take it out basically. Yeah, there again, another one there for £100. So the parts are, saleable. So from my perspective, it's a lot easier for me to just take it to pieces, get them all listed on eBay. Now I might end up having to sit on these parts for a while to actually get them sold, but well, I personally think this is going to be the best way forward with this iMac. So yeah, I think the first thing that we're going to do is get the iMac back up on the desk, and we're going to start disassembling it. Okay guys, so I've got Mac number 5 up on the bench. As you can see, I've just plugged the power in, so I'm just going to power it on just to remind you what it's doing when it does power on. So as you can see it booting in the background, but we've just got these big green lines down the screen, which is most likely the graphics card that's in this iMac. Not going to go to the trouble of repairing it. I'm just literally going to, as I mentioned on the video before, start breaking it. We'll try and see what we can get for the glass itself, which is in good condition. The LCD behind is also in really good condition. So yeah, let's start tearing it down. As you can see, the iMac actually hasn't booted this time. It's just literally gone to a white screen, which confirms my suspicion even further that it is a graphics issue. So let's grab some tools, power it off, and let's get it stripped down. So the first thing that we need to do is remove the screen. Realistically, there's 2 suction cups that you're supposed to connect to here, and then the screen will just pull off, but I don't have them suction cups, so I'm just going to use my opener, which I use for getting iPhone screens off as well. Once you get a little edge, you can work your way around and get the screen off. It's only held on by magnets. There's no real risk of damaging anything other than the camera, but if we stay at the edge, that gives us a bit there. I wouldn't recommend just pulling straight on this corner. I would slowly work along as so, keeping your fingers on the top of the glass, and pull it back, and you will feel it just go away. Pull away, sorry. As you can see on the back of the screen, there is, just turn it around, there is little magnets which will hold the glass to the actual assembly. So we'll put that aside. And next we will remove the LCD. Now the LCD is held in place with little screws down the side. As you can see, these are little Torx bits, and once these have been removed, we'll be able to pull the LCD forward, and then we just need to disconnect the ribbon cables. Once you removed all the screws from the side of the LCD, you will notice there are two sticker type things up here. You need to just pull these off. The first one, move that there. As you can see, there's the second one. Okay, so once you have all the screws removed from the side of the LCD, I believe there's 4 down each side, the LCD will fall forward. So what you're best off doing is keeping it pretty straight like this, or leaning it back. And if you just get a small screwdriver, or sometimes you can do it with your finger, and gently lift the LCD forward. This will fall out, so keep it rested. At the top, pull this over here so you can see. At the top, firstly, you will see there is a connection here. Just literally unplug that from there. A little bit further down the assembly, you will see there's another cable here. Gently pull the black tab towards you. That will then loosen off the clip, and this one should pull straight out like that. The next one along, just literally pull that up and that will come out also. And then the last one is at this side, and I believe that's for the inverter. So push this in and then it will click out like that. Now you'll be able to lift the LCD away from the iMac. I'll pop this aside and we'll continue. So as you can see, we've now got the whole assembly. You can see the power supply. Be careful, don't touch that, as it can still hold power for up to 24 hours, I believe. So the next thing that we're going to remove is going to be the hard drive. So start off by removing the 2 screws at the top. So this Mac has got a 1 terabyte drive. It's the original one that came with the Mac, so it's never been replaced. It's a Seagate, so we'll be able to run C tools on that. So for the time being, I'm going to grab the screws for this drive and put it aside. So the next thing that we're going to remove in is the LCD inverter board, which is this here. These fetch okay money, so let's get this out. Next we will remove the power supply. As I said, be very careful with this, as it can hold charge for up to 24 hours after it's been turned off. Just going to make sure I've unplugged this, which I have. So okay. Just going to hold the power button down. Whether that's going to make any difference or not, I'm not sure. That's enough waiting. Power supply should now lift away from the device. Once I've unhooked the power cable, of course. Get that one hooked. I'm going to pull this off the back as well, which is the one which connected to the LCD inverter board. Just so it's stuck down. I'm going to try and get my finger on the back and wiggle the clip out. There you go. This should now pull away from the iMac. Now there is one more thing to disconnect before this can be pulled away completely, and that is the connector for basically for the socket on the back of the iMac. As you can see, that's just in there like that. We just pull that little connector there with great difficulty. There we go, and that's now disconnected. So we can put this aside. I'm going to keep the screws with this device. Let's say I like to keep the screws. side. So the next thing I'm going to do is remove the disk drive. Just held on by 4 screws, I believe. Next I'll be removing the airport card, which as you can see is located just here. I'll disconnect the 3 antennas, see if I can find a bit that's small enough to fit in there, which is that one. Next I'm going to be removing the majority of the screws which fixes the logic board to the actual chassis. As you can see, there's quite a few. Before we can actually remove the logic board, we need to remove the memory from the machine. Next we're going to remove the fans. Okay, so as you can see here, I've basically removed the majority of the stuff from the iMac. You can see I've left in the camera, the card reader, also down there's the jacks for the microphone and the headphones, and the little socket for where you plug your power in. It's just going to make it a little bit more desirable to actually sell the chassis, as there's not going to be much demand for it as it is, but just leaving in the little bits which aren't really worth much but may help the item sell. Here's a good idea. You can see from this side it's in really good condition. It probably would, the stand itself would have sold on its own, but I'm planning on just selling it as one lot. If somebody messages me privately, I've seen that before, I may separate the stand, but for the time being I'm just going to leave it as one complete unit and most likely put it on at the price, maybe a little bit more than a stand on its own, just to basically get rid of it. And it'll also help the next person, as they won't have to mess around swapping the stand about, as it can be a little tricky to do so. So the next thing that I'm going to do here is actually remove the GPU from the logic board, as I believe the logic board is good and working. It's just the GPU which is dead. So I'm going to sell them in 2 separate parts. You can see that's the GPU, which is suspected to be faulty. So now I'm going to remove the processor. Have a look to see which processor is actually in this iMac. So it looks like we have got a i5-2400 3.1 GHz. So I will check the prices for this and see if it's worth selling it separately or with the logic board itself. For the time being, I'm just going to pop it back into the logic board. So that's been broken down now, so I'm just going to have a quick run through on what parts we got out of iMac number 5. So we'll start with here. We've got the power supply, the inverter board for the LCD, the hard drive and the caddy itself, the LCD screen, the front glass, the disk drive, the little infrared receiver. I may pop this back into the chassis because I don't think it'll sell. The airport card, the little cover for the memory, the 3 fans, the heatsink for the CPU, the Faulty, I believe it's an AMD. Just clean some of that off. If you can see that. It's an AMD 1052. The memory, so this looks like it's DDR3. Got some 8 gig sticks. At least the crucial ones are 8 gig anyway. I'm not sure exactly what the Kingston ones are. I'll find out later. And then we have the heatsink for the GPU. At the back over there we've got the logic board with the processor. So as I say, I'm going to figure out whether it's worth me selling the processor with the logic board, if the logic boards are actually, if they actually sell. So I'll go and work that out and we'll see what we can do. Oh, and of course we've got the chassis as well. Okay, so I have just basically labelled up all the parts. I've just added it to the spreadsheet here. As you can see there, all the parts come to 17 different parts. I am now going to test the hard drive. I've whipped out its its chassis anyway, and I've put it into C-Tools, and we're just going to try and run some basic tests on this. So we'll do a smart test. So first off, it failed the smart test, which is not great. We will then do a short drive self-test. Which it passed, as you can see there. So I've done this before with quite a lot of Seagate's drives and they always seem to fail the smart test. I'm not sure if it's the USB caddy that I'm using or what, but I'm confident that there's probably nothing wrong with this drive. What I will do is I'm going to run an 8-pass arrays on it using Derek's boot and nuke because I don't want any of the existing data to exist. Once that's done, I'll bang it on eBay and I'll put that it failed the smart check, but we'll do the long check once I've done the data wipers. That's going to take quite a while. So now that that's complete, I'm going to start listing these on eBay. Okay, so we're about an hour later. I've listed everything on eBay. I've gone through and I've looked at what everybody else is selling the items for. I've undercut them very slightly. I'm hoping the majority of this stuff will sell. I mean, like the power supply, that's very likely to sell. The RAM, because that'll fit so many different machines other than just that one iMac, should sell. I put the GPU on even though it is faulty. I've listed it as faulty, but there's people out there that like to buy them to repair them. It's unlikely the CPU heatsink will sell, to be quite honest with you, but it's on there anyways. It's on listing. The PSU cable, the LCD will most likely sell as well. As you can see, I've got that one for there. These post and packaging estimates that I have put there, they are literally just estimates. I'd expect it to be around that. I mean, like the LCD is quite a big bulky thing which has to be really, really protected as it can easily get damaged. But basically, so before all the fees, a total of £370.84. Now what I'll be doing is, as things sell, I'll be ticking them off on here and I'll be putting the actual price that they sold for. I mean, we can minus probably 20% off of that due to eBay and PayPal fees. And obviously you've got all the time that you have to spend packaging these items up, taking them to the post office, that kind of stuff. But so far for iMac 5, I have spent 3 hours in total stripping it down and listing everything on eBay. So I think that's it for today's video. I hope you've enjoyed it. Obviously I'll keep everybody up to date with what's going to happen with these items if anything sells, and we will move on to another Mac in the next video. If you're not subscribed already, please subscribe, like the video, comment below. Be great. As I am new to YouTube, really appreciate it.